Calloway is a larger-than-life American journalist, radio personality, and executive producer and rapper known as Sway or Sway in the Morning. For years, his morning radio show, The Wake Up Show, co-hosted with King Tech, was credited for driving hip-hop culture. Well, he's here in the country hosting the Sway Cold Cyphers as part of the Castlelight Unlocks music shows. He will see a number of lyricists, including the Big Hash, Nadia Nakai, Rouge, Molley. These already established artists will prove to him if they are the real deal. But we are happy to say to you, Sway is in the room. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
For having me. Thank you for having me.
We have followed your career, listened to your interviews, because as they say, you drive culture in the US.
Okay, that's what they say.
But when you started interviewing South African celebrities, it just really made you even that much bigger in South Africa.
Yes.
Thank you for that recognition.
Thank you for recognizing it. You know, when we start, the first person we had on the show was Casper Noivest, who came on, and I was familiar with his journey. I was familiar with his work.
Yeah.
And I thought it was important that he came on the platform so other people in the States could be familiar as well. It was always that correlation between folks who are African Americans in the United States and people who are from here.
What makes you interested, though?
I grew up in Oakland, and my mother studied a lot of African studies, and she pretty much installed in us self-value, self-esteem, history, heritage. And when I was younger, we had to learn all the countries in Africa, you know, even in the United States. And so we thought our history was important, and we would trace back our history prior to the slave trade to Africa. And we just thought a lot of the magic that was coming from Africa was important for us to wear on our backs, you know, in our minds and our spirits. So when I got in a position to do Sway in the Morning, these platforms like MTV, I wanted to make sure that we paid homage to that too. We don't want to think in a box. There's a bigger world out there.
So you took it beyond just the artistic.
Absolutely. The political, if you think about it, we have so many parallels in what we face. People in South Africa post-apartheid and during apartheid, and people in America with the civil rights movement and post-civil rights movement, and trying to adjust to this new way of thinking and this new way of politics, and still having the same oppressive ideas and mentality that we have to break through. It's a lot of similarities, and so through hip-hop culture, we like to bring that to the forefront. Through rap, through dance, through DJing, through graffiti writing. It's a way for us to connect in a better way than politics does, in a better way than religion does. So I thought if I got in a position of power, this is how I want to utilize it.
So what a lovely coincidence that you get to come to South Africa during a celebration of Youth Month.
Youth Month,
And what it commemorates is young people fighting against police brutality in South Africa and fighting against the system. And in the US now, you're here with an artist called Meek Mill. There's issues there about police not being fair to him. And so these social situations still continue.
It's the same. It's almost like a mirror image. You know, Youth Day, and I think that took place in 1976. Okay, so we have movements like Black Lives Matter for the same reason.
Absolutely.
You know, police brutality and a lot of kids, black kids being killed for unjust reasons, or being put in the system, in this criminal justice system that's unfair and imbalanced. You know, this appropriated or excessive sentencing. Meek Mill got put on probation for crimes he committed as a teenager. A 12-year probation sentence is unheard of. That's really setting you up to fail. And if you catch another charge while you're on probation, you get in even deeper waters. And that's what happened with him. And so for him to use his voice and talk about injustice, criminal injustice, and people like Jay-Z, people like T.I.
How was he even able to travel to South Africa? Because I heard that the probation conditions were preventing his travel arrangements.
You know, I have no idea. But whatever it was, perhaps he got through it. I really don't know. That's a great question. That he was able to travel overseas. But he's with Rock Nation. He's with MMG. He's with some really powerful people that are now have their foot in the system.
So you've had some of the most amazing interviews. Everybody's spoken about the Kanye interview. How was that like for you, though?
Kanye is a very passionate person. He's a very
is he misunderstood?
Perhaps, perhaps he's misunderstood. I think at that time it was about how he was communicating that was misunderstood. I think his intent and his heart has always been great. I've known him for years prior to that interview.
Okay.
So I knew him before his success had reached that apex. So the interaction between him and it sounded like he was frustrated about the way he was treated in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And he had something he wanted to voice, and I had some things I wanted to challenge him with. And but I don't think that outburst was fully about me. I think
it never is, though.
It never is.
We work in that world where you're chasing the interview. Which ones for you have been the most iconic?
That one. I think interviewing.
You sound like a rap song now. That one.
that one. Kanye interview was pretty iconic because people got a chance to see two black men going at it and trying to understand each other's position.
And not playing the man, playing the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in the end, you saw us shake hands and tell each other we love each other. That was the most important part of the interview to me. Sitting down with President Obama live on MTV in the White House. That will always be a great one. That was probably one of my favorite moments. But sitting down with Tupac, who was a friend of mine prior to his untimely death, sitting down with Biggie prior to his untimely death.
Brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, man, those bring tears to my eyes as well. But it's been a lot of. Iyanla Vanzant came by the show recently, and just I love when Iyanla comes by the show. She's such a powerful person.
Everybody loves Aunt Iyanla.
Yeah, that's what you call her? Okay, yeah, she's everybody's aunt. But it's been, and then, even some of the South African artists, like having Stogie T on the show, I thought was a big moment for us, considering his history in music here in South Africa. Having Questa on the show and talking about the area and the regions that he grew up in and speaking on the dialect, I thought that was pretty powerful as well. So we've had a vast array of different variety of people that come on the show, but I can't even answer that question, really. I'm trying to, but there's been a lot of people that have come by the show.
What have you been doing since you got here?
So far, my man C's, who formerly worked at MTV, now he works at, what's the channel C's works at? Oh, I can't say that here. Okay, yeah, he works at another channel now. He took me to a party last night, a house party. I had some food from South Africa made by South African people. We went by Miss Cosmo's radio show as well. We did a sound check yesterday. I had a Q&A with a bunch of folks from different countries, from Zimbabwe, Uganda, different countries.
Do you have a sense of the culture and where it's going?
In 24 hours, I have as best of a sense as I can. And then I think today when we go do the event and we do the ciphers today.
Tell us about the event.
Well, Castle Light Unlocks is an event I've been trying to be a part of for years. Today is going to be experienced like an expo. So you're going to see master classes being taught. You're going to see dance. You're going to have a lot of vendors selling a lot of merchandise. There's going to be a lot of culture that people will be talking about. I think I'll be doing a Q&A panel with some other people that are going to be in town. Meek Mill is going to perform tonight. A lot of South African artists are going to perform today. So it's just a really great experience.
So you've had the chance to interview some of our biggest hip-hop artists. What advice would you give to that space of culture in South Africa?
Same advice I would give to people who are in the States that wanted to broaden their brand and get out of the States, and I would tell people, step outside of South Africa sometimes and make sure you fraternize with artists from other places. Be smart about your music, but keep your identity in your music. That's important. That's what's going to differ you from other artists from other places.
That's the draw to you.
That's the draw.
Yeah.
And right now, South Africa is a big draw, whether it's fashion, culture, music. You're starting to see a lot of people kind of co-op a lot of creativity that's coming from South Africa, and the originals are right here. So I would definitely say fraternize with people who come from other areas. Spread your seeds, plant it in different soils, but make sure you stay true to who you are. How
you feel about the growth of your personal brand? Was that intentional?
My brand, it's been I'm not sure if it was intentional. I didn't realize that 20 years ago that I would be here 20 years later. My objective was always to give people opportunity, people who were voiceless, people who didn't have access to the major power grids, and I was able to work my way into them. And so I'm the guy that says, look, the door is open, man. Come on, Desiree, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And because of that, I've always tried to maintain integrity in what I do. and stay consistent to who I am. As you know, your star has risen over the years as well, and sometimes you can get thrown off your square. And so I try to make sure I stay true to who I am, and people recognize it. So when I come to South Africa, or I go to France, or I go to the Netherlands, it's a lot of love, and I try to give a lot of love on my radio show or through that TV camera.
We're all super stoked that you're here.
Thank
all
you.
the best for this evening.
Thank you very
and,
much.
And as you say, South Africans will be coming through to come and interact.
Can I hug you?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Let's do
That's
that.
a lot of love. You do a great job. Love
thank
your
you
show.
So much.
Absolutely.
Sway in the morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Desiree.
All right, you're watching The Agenda. Let's go to break.